Welcome back to another video, folks. Now, you may have noticed, some of you may not have, but on my community posts, I made a post and I said I was going to do a Q&A video. Leave your questions below and I will do my best to answer them. Well, here we are. This is the video. I've got a fair few, not loads. I didn't get loads. I think it's about 17 or 18. So I'll do my very best to answer them and be as honest as possible. To be honest, there's nothing too personal, which I'm kind of happy about. But and thank you everyone who actually left a comment. So I might do this again at some point. Hopefully get a few more as well, something a bit different. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If there's anything you want to ask. So the first question comes from Forever Westbound, and this is the question. So they want to know which is my favorite pickup of the year so far, or what I got more excited for, and why. So if I'm going for this year, I'm going to have to say it's the Resident Evil 7 Biohazard Collector's Edition. And the reason for that is I just think it looks absolutely fantastic. It's such a well-built collector's edition. It has the added feature, it's a music box. You don't see them around a lot either. Like, I have never, ever seen that in any game store I've ever been in. And I'm not saying I'm this well-traveled, world-renowned game store traveler, but I've never seen it. You know, I've been in numerous CXs. I've been on the app. It's never in stock. I've been to different game shops. I've been to car boot sales. I've been to game fairs, gaming markets. I have never ever seen it. Never seen it in person until I bought it. I haven't been collecting the longest of times. Just hit the 2-year mark. But you know, there's a lot of people. When I bought it, they said you don't see that very often, and I tend to agree with them. You don't, and it's just a really well-built thing. And for me to actually own that, and you all know I'm a Resident Evil fan, and to be able to own that, have something really cool in my collection that you don't see every day, is just the icing on the cake for me. And that is my favorite pickup of the year so far. Maybe my favorite pickup ever. I don't know. It's up there. But yeah, that's my answer for that one. I absolutely love that collector's edition. I'm so glad to have it. And the next question comes off the Grid 17. Right, so obviously I'm talking about moving house. Now, if you want to hear more about that in another video, let me know down below. Because I have been mentioning it a long time, and you know, I'm sure some of you thinking this is never going to happen. Am I making it up? It is happening. There are reasons why things are delayed, but if you want me to elaborate on that more, and go into a bit more detail, I'm more than happy to. I've told most of the guys in the Discord, you know, so join the Discord if you want. The link is on the channel somewhere, or I'll leave it down in the comments. But yeah, there are reasons. Reasons out of my control, unfortunately, but it is happening. It's just a case of when. But back to the question. Would I be looking to make it cozy, or would I be wanting it bright to show off the collection? Now, this is the question of all questions, really, isn't it? So I have a vision in my mind. So I look at other people's gaming rooms. So my favorite game room I've ever seen is Kev's, who's on the Retro Ghetto. Now, I think that's fantastic. But then at the same time, I think to myself, could I imagine myself sitting there and playing a game? You need to have it cozy, whereas it's more like a museum. So what I want to try and do, I've got like different visions in my head. What I want to try and do is make the best of both worlds. I'm lucky in the sense that I'm an electrician. So lighting, I think, is your best friend when it comes to things like this. So all this shelving I've bought is coming with me. So it's going to be grey shelving. I'm sticking with that theme. I'm not changing that up. It's just the way it's set out. I've picked the sofa. I've put a deposit on the sofa. We're paying monthly for the sofa. I'll put a photo up here. This is the sofa I'm going for. So it's fully electric. It's a nice reclining one and all that jazz. So I do want it slightly modern, you know, with all the perks and the comforts. But then I also want it, you know, it's got that bit of a retro vibe as well. So my plan is I'm going to kind of, the area I'm having as well, let's just get that out of the way. It's going to be like the Retro Ghetto's gaming room if you watch that. So it's a long, narrowish apex ceiling. So that's the space I'm working with. It's probably twice the length of what I'm in now, and probably as wide. So I'll have a lot more space. And what I wanted to try and do was make it into 2 different sections. So I wanted to have a movie section and a gaming section. So the gaming section, on the end wall, I'm going to have my TV, probably on the wall. I'm going to have, a few statues and stuff, my consoles all displayed. That sofa I just showed you, that a nice cozy sofa. Plan is as well, I want a projector, so I'm going to have like a descending screen, an electronic one. So it'll come down in front of where I've got my TV on the wall. It'll cover that massive projector screen for watching movies. And then I want, like, obviously the projector, but I want lighting. Like I said, lighting's key. I want to build it so I can have it bright. So if I'm doing a video and I want to show off my collection, I can click of a switch or a dimmer or something. I may even get some kinetic switching in there, or even Alexa, some smart modules and stuff. And I can have it as bright as the sun. But then I also want it, so I can, you can even program things nowadays, can't you? So I can set scenes. I can pick a gaming scene, have all the lights dimmed down, maybe certain lamps on or different things just to add a bit of ambience. But then if I want to film a video or show off my collection, I could have it set as museum mode, for instance, and boom. So it's going to be racked out shelving wise, but I do want sections. So I want a Resident Evil section with all the games on display and all the statues and all the collectibles. I want a Silent Hill section with all the games, all the statues, the God of War. I want everything in sections. I do want a movie section, so I want to get like all my films up. I got movie posters. I've not got displayed. I want to get all that. I want to get a magazine rack so people can sit down. And I had this crazy idea. I told the guys in the Instagram group, I wanted a PlayStation coffee table, a PS1 table. I want to try and make one where you can lift, the center, you can lift that up and you've got storage in there. So I thought that would be cool. So I could have a sofa with that in front and I could store stuff in there, rest your feet on there if you wanted. So I'm toying with all these different ideas, but answering your question, I kind of want best of both. I want a comfortable sofa. I want comfort there. I'm getting a fridge for there as well. I've got a fridge here, but that's tiny. I want a biggish fridge, like a tabletop fridge. I want to make it comfortable. Comfortable is the main thing because I will be playing games there. Comfortable and warm. I'm not going for laminate. I want carpet under feet so I can go barefoot, and it just gives that cozy feeling. I was even thinking of trying to get this carpet that they have in the cinema. And yeah, I just really want that cozy feeling, but then I also want it as a flick of a switch. I could, it's going to look like a really cool collection. So kind of a bit of both. Hopefully that's thrown a bit of insight of what I'm going for. Like I said, I do want to have it so I can press a button. The screen comes down for the projector and we can have a movie night in there. I get some surround sound built in and like build like my own little cinema as well, if that makes sense. And then when I really want to game, that can go up and I've got the OLED ready to game. So that's the plan. It's going to be a lot of work. I know it is. The room I'm having is just a room. It's got power in there, but it's used for like a workshop / storage area. So it's going to need insulating, plasterboarding, electrics. I'm not doing plumbing. I'm gonna have electric heating. I may even get aircon. There's a lot of work, plastering, painting, a lot. It's a fair bit of work, but it'll be worth it in the end. And I really want to take my time. And for instance, like I know the height of my shelves, so I want to make it so I've got plug sockets on top, so I can plug in LED lights if I wanted, or put display lights. I want to have those dotted around at high level. I also want sockets at low level. I want a socket in the ceiling for the projector, exactly where it's going to be, with HDMIs and data cables run in the build, so no cables on display. So a lot of planning, but yeah, I don't think I've really answered your question, but kind of the best of both worlds. Right, next question is from PS3 Collector. Right, so someone else has asked this question as well. So what I'll do, I'll answer PS3's question because the other person has asked 2 in 1 in effect. So I'll answer PS3s, and then the next person, when we get to it, I'll explain. But so PS3 collector, what game would I like to see made into a film or TV series? Now, automatically, I jump for something like Red Dead Redemption, but then I think about it, and I'm like, it doesn't need it. That game is a masterpiece in itself. It's so cinematic. I think to experience that, you need to experience the game. Um, I think the film wouldn't do it justice because, well, they kind of messed The Last of Us up, haven't they? Like the first season was good, but I'm not heard good things about the second. Um, and that was a cinematic masterpiece. I don't think they needed to do that. If you wanted to have the experience of that story, play the game. And I know not everyone's gamers, and you could argue they miss out on that story, but to me, that's just tough. I do think you can ruin things. But this is going to be cliche because of who I am, but I think Days Gone, they could make a good series out of, or a film. Obviously, it would need to be directed correctly and done right. Hopefully, they could do really well with that. But like Resident Evil and Silent Hill. I know you're going to say, "Oh God, he's on about these again." And I know they've done them, but they haven't done them right, have they? Let's be honest. I remember when the first Resident Evil film came out with Mia Djokovic, or whatever her name is. I was so excited as a late teenager, young adult. I was like, this is going to be insane. And it wasn't. Why can't they just make a real Resident Evil film with it that just follows the game storyline, where they're in the Spencer Mansion, for instance? How scary would I'm a massive horror fan, so I love horror films. So it's probably going to be a horror game I was going to pick anyway. But make a real Resident Evil film and Silent Hill film. Follow the story. The stories are there, written for you. You don't need to fuck about with them. Just so I think as a new film, I would say Days Gone. But I really wish they would make a good Resident Evil or Silent Hill, because they could be scary films. They could be good horror films. They just need to do a good job at it. Next question is from Gareth A. Hey Gareth, you've recently joined the Discord. Welcome, son. Which console would I? All right. So if I had to choose a console and I could only have two games forever, what would I pick? Now this was a little bit of a tough one. And I thought about it long and hard. So the console, I think I would have to pick a PS2. That's not my favorite console. My favorite console, PS1. But the reason I picked PS2 was because it's backward compatible, and I wouldn't have to pick just one system. And the game I picked are Resident Evil 2, because I love that game. Here we go, Resident Evil again. But no, I love that game. You've got two discs. You can play as Claire, you can play as Leon. You've got scenario B. There's so much replayability there. And that's why I've gone for a PS2, so I could play a PS1 game. And the next game is GTA Vice City. Now, the reason that is a killer storyline. I remember 100% it back in the day. So if I could only, I could 100% it again. So there's a lot of replay value there. And how much fun can you have around that city? Driving around, robbing cars, doing things. So I feel that would pass a lot of time when you're bored. Obviously, Resident Evil 2 will as well. But GTA is one of those games you can just pick up and just doss around on, isn't it? So I would pick the PS2, I would pick Resident Evil 2 and GTA Vice City. And as for my favourite biscuit to dip in tea, it would be none, because I don't drink tea. I'm a coffee drinker, Gareth, but for biscuit, you may crucify me in the comments for this because it's not really a biscuit, but a Jaffa cake is my favourite. Now, can you call that a biscuit? Probably not. If I'm not allowed a Jaffa cake, so Jaffa cake is my top answer. Ding, 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 ding. But if I'm not allowed a Jaffa cake, I will pick a chocolate hobnob. So that's that. Chocolate hobnob, but preferably a Jaffa cake for a cup of coffee. We've got one from Realist Gamer up here. So he has asked, what has been my game of the year so far? Doesn't have to be released this year. Anything I've played this year. The game I'm gonna pick, mate, has been released this year, and it is the first Berserker Kazan. Don't know what it was. I absolutely loved that game. I know it's not for everyone. It's a Souls-like, but there's just something about it. It just had me like sucked in, and I just wanted to go back and go back. There's not many games that suck me in, and I cannot wait to finish work to go and play it. That was one of them. Dragon's Dogma done that to me as well. Whereas when I wasn't playing it, I was thinking of playing it. Kazan done exactly the same for me, so I'm going to say the first Berserker Kazan, because it's amazing. I think you should all try it, whether you play Souls or not. It is not as hard as some of the Souls-like games. It's tough, but it's not quite as hard. The difficulty isn't quite as high, and it's a fantastic game. So give it a try if you haven't. And here we have 5th Gen Journey. So he asked the same question as PS3 Collector. Well, actually, 5th Gen asked it first. Which game would make a good film or TV show? But he also asked what film would make a good game. So the opposite round. So this isn't a game. This isn't a film. It's a television show, but I think it would make a pretty cool game, and that is Breaking Bad. Might be a bit controversial, but I just think you could almost make like a GTA style game out of it, couldn't you? You start off Walter White, your day to day, and you're building up your business. There's so many avenues that you could go down with different missions, different tasks. Yeah, I think Breaking Bad would be class, and you build your way up until you are Heisenberg. So tell me off in the comments, mate, if you did want a film, but I think Breaking Bad, could make a pretty cool game. Yeah, I'd love to see that come to fruition, if I'm honest. Next question is off Game Collector Tony. The first console that I played that got me into gaming. Right, so this is going to go way back. Now, the first console I ever played was a Commodore 64. I didn't own it. My friend owned it, Stuart Lambert. But for the life of me, I cannot remember what game we played. I remember it being in his kitchen. He had a TV set up. It was in the kitchen. Put the tape in. I'd never played a console before. I want to say Contra, but I don't know. I remember he was an army guy going across and he was shooting stuff. I don't know what it was. If anyone's got a really good like memory or they know a lot about the Commodore 64, I know nothing about this system. I was an army guy running across and shooting stuff. That's all I know. So that was the Commodore 64. Did that really get me into gaming? No. It was just something to do over his house. However, I didn't get a console really because till I was like 9, I want to say, because we weren't the most wealthy of families. And then I remember Stuart getting another console, which was a NES. I think his dad may have bought him to play on as well. I'm not sure, but it was a NES. And I remember playing WrestleMania, the Steel Cage game. Absolutely adored that. But that didn't quite get me hooked on the game. It's something fun to do over his house. He then got a Sega Mega Drive. Now, I played that over his house, and it blew me away. I remember playing Sonic. We played Moonwalker. We played California games. So much we played on there. I used to love California. I used to love going over Stuart's house to play California games. That was why I bought it when I got my Mega Drive. Obviously, it's all gone now, but it was one of the first games I picked up. But yeah, I think it was the Mega Drive, and I remember begging my mum for a Mega Drive for Christmas, and she couldn't afford it. I remember going to Woolworths, and she couldn't afford it. So she basically said to me I could have a Sega Master System 2 or nothing, basically. That was how it was. And I said, okay, I'll have a Sega Master System 2. I think I was crying as well because I really wanted a Mega Drive. I got Sega Master System 2 and I absolutely loved it. So the Sega Master System 2 was the first console I owned, but the console that actually, I did dip my feet in, but the console that actually got me into gaming was the Sega Mega Drive over my mate Stuart's house. Absolutely loved that thing. Next question is from Blade8768. Do you think PlayStation should bring out a proper handheld? I'm on the fence with this one, mate. I really am. Obviously, they got the Portal, but you need a PS5, so a standalone thing. They did that with the Vita. It didn't take off well. Thing is, I'm not a handheld gamer. I don't really like playing handheld. I had a Switch. I sold a Switch. I bought a Switch Lite, and I recently traded that into CX, which you will see in the next video. I just can't get on my handhelds. I bought a Vita. I've hacked my Vita. I can get every Vita game in the library. I can get thousands of PSP games, thousands of PlayStation 1. I don't play it. It just sits there collecting dust. I just cannot play handhelds. So for me personally, I don't think it has no bearing on my life, so I don't think they should. Would it be a good idea? Yes, but the problem is technology moves on so fast, um, and it's the size of things. So what could they realistically do? They wouldn't be able to get a. I don't think they could get a PS5 power into a handheld, so it'd have to be a PS4 power. So then you're on the Switch 2 level, then, aren't you? So I don't think they do. I don't think they need to. Um, PlayStation over the years, they've built their name. They're the king of gaming in my eyes. You all know I love PlayStation, but Xbox has come. I can see it dwindling. Nintendo is still up there. I'm not saying they're not, but PlayStation have built their way from nothing to where they are today, and it's all been off console gaming. Really, they've had a couple of handhelds. They haven't really done a lot. Nintendo built a big reputation with their Game Boy, their DSs, their Switch. Their handhelds have been a big part of their ecosystem for years. PlayStation don't need it, as far as I'm concerned. And there's too much competition now. There is too much competition. Switch is going to be the best handheld of them all. You've got Steam Decks, you've got Xbox bringing one out. There's so many different brands making Steam Decks. I just don't think they should. Obviously, if you're a handheld gamer, you may disagree with me, but personally, I don't think they need to. I don't need to see one. Um, would it make good business sense? Maybe, because I do feel the Switch has pushed people towards handheld, but I don't think I'd pick one up. I rushed into getting the Portal. It was handy when I was down Laura so I could play, but now she's got a PS5. I don't even use my Portal, so I'm just a big screen kind of guy. Hope that answers your question, mate. But yeah, I don't think they do. Right, so we have another question of Realist Gamer. Do you think selling all your consoles was the best decision I made last year? No, I don't, mate, if I'm honest. Reason I done it? I said, oh, they all sit here and I don't play them. I didn't play them. And I could have used the money. So basically, I closed the business down. I had outstanding debts from the business. I still have outstanding debts from the business. So I sold all that off and I'm still no better. So what happened was I closed the business. Obviously, I owed all this money. I was working weekends to keep these debts paid. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat anything. Like my debt at the minute is about £900 a month. From wholesalers, credit cards, business loan. Um, you could say I should have paid it all off before I closed the business. I didn't have the funds to do that. Um, so, £900. I had to find £900 a month. I was working weekends, pay just to keep that, and then my wages were my own, which is how I carried on collecting. Got to a stage where I didn't want to work weekends anymore. So I thought, right, I'm going to sell all the stuff I don't use, the stuff I don't really love, get some money in, and I can use that to pay off all my debt. So I did that, and it wasn't enough to pay off all my debt. So that sat in a bank account. I remember saying it on a video, and I was using that to pay my debts off bit by bit by bit, and hopefully that's building up. And one time they're going to match up, and I can just clear the lot. They never matched up. I sold what I could sell, and the debts are still there, and that just to end up paying it month by month by month by month by month by month, and all the game money's gone, the console money's gone. So I'm left in a position now where I don't have all this cool stuff, and I still owe a lot of money. So do you know what I mean? It's one of those. So was it the best decision I ever made? Some aspects, yes, because it's cleared a lot of space, but other aspects, because I kick myself sometimes when I see other people's consoles or games. I'm like, I had that literally last year. I sold it. Um, it was the right thing to do at the time, I think. But looking back now, I wish I'd done something else, maybe a different avenue, because it would be cool to have them all still. Um, and this is the reason why I said in the other video that I'm a bit skint at the minute, purely because the game money's run out now, and I still got to pay my debts. So, I don't have much free income at the minute. So I'm back to square one. So I either got to start working weekends again, or I need to sort something drastic out, stop buying games completely. But then I'm afraid I'm going to lose the YouTube channel. So that's another topic. But no, mate, it wasn't the best decision I made, unfortunately. Daniel Sanford, a franchise I like the idea of, but I can't get into. I'm gonna have to say Call of Duty, mate. I have tried and tried and tried with Call of Duty. I even bought. I didn't buy the recent one, but Modern Warfare 2 when that came out, I paid like 65 quid for that. I just couldn't get into it, and I've tried well, not every COD, but over the years I've tried so many CODs. I just cannot get into them, and I would love to. They look so much fun. I watch people playing Warzone. I watch not streams, but I watch like, what's his name? Timmy. Ah, I can't. The guy with that laugh. Timmy two. I can't think of his name, but I watch like he has like montages, doesn't he, of all his different kills and all, and I love it. I love watching it. I'd love to play it, but I just cannot get into it for love nor money. I'm never buying another one. Well, not a new release one anyway, because they are, they're expensive games, and I know for a fact I play it for a couple of hours, and that'll be that. So yeah, Call of Duty is one, and I just wish I could get into it. And we are down to the final question, folks. So the final question is from the man himself, Gog, gentleman of games. Do you have any other hobbies other than gaming? Well, Gog, funny you should mention it. I'm a cross-dresser on a Saturday night. No, I don't. I do. I know that sounds sad, but I have no other hobbies. Nothing at all. Gaming is my life. And for a longer answer, or the reasoning why, it's just the way I'm wired. I can't focus on more than one thing at once, and anything I have an interest in, I obsess over terribly. So I don't know if any of you know, I used to go to the gym regular, and I used to compete in strongman. So I obsessed over that. All I thought about was training, eating right, what supplements to take. When I finished work, I would spend my evenings watching videos on training techniques, on building muscle, on this, that. I even went through the process and became a qualified personal trainer as I was doing it. Um, it just took over my life. I watched strongman videos. I watched this, that, and the other because I wanted to be the best strongman in the world. Obviously, I'm not built for that, am I? Let's be honest. I'm 5'10". So I dropped the weight category, and I competed on international level. Of course, I come fifth in Wales a couple of times, but I I obsess. I really do obsess. And then when I started my YouTube channel, like this YouTube channel didn't start as a gaming channel. It was one where I vlog my daily work life, in when I owned my business, and I obsessed over that. Everything was about making content, and I needed the best tools to show off and do reviews and that. So I constantly, like I buy games now, I was buying tools, and it was just crazy, man. It was crazy. Um, and then I fell out of love with that, and I got into gaming. So gaming's my new hobby, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. This one's lasted longer than any, well, not longer than the strongman one, but it's getting up there. But when I have a hobby or an interest, I just obsess, and I cannot switch off. I'm in work, I'm thinking of gaming or buying games. I'm at home and thinking of buying or gaming. Um, and I've always been in the mindset, if you want to do something, do it properly. I'd never wanted to half-ass anything. And you could probably see that with when I get an idea in my head, I go for it, and I try and put as much effort in as I can. Maybe not so much with my editing, because I do hate editing, but with my gaming especially, I game every day because I feel like I need to game every day. That's my hobby. I'm a gamer. But I do need to calm down on stuff, especially the buy-in. I just have this real obsessive personality, so I'm like one hobby at a time kind of guy. So yeah, to answer your question, Gog, no, I do not have any other hobbies. This is my hobby. This is my life. This is where every penny spare I have goes. And basically all my free time. Obviously, I spend time with the kids and stuff. Probably not as much as I should, but anytime, as soon as they're in bed, I'm gaming. And that's just my life. As sad as it may seem, I'm either in work, I'm with the kids, or I'm gaming or making YouTube videos. That is it. Well, I suppose you could count making YouTube videos a hobby, but yeah, everything's gaming related, mate. To answer that one. And that is that, folks. That was the last question. Hopefully I answered them all as best I can. Let me know if you have any more. or if you like me to do this more regular. I don't want to say once a month. I think that's too much. Maybe once every 3 months, maybe like 4 a year, perhaps. Who knows? But yeah, that's my question and answers video, folks. Sorry it's not a pickup video. I do have some pickups. Well, I'll show you one. That has come today. Clear Obscure Expedition 33. Come a day earlier than I thought as well. It's supposed to be released tomorrow. I don't know whether to jump on this tonight, but I've nearly finished Indiana Jones. I'm like 78%, which I think I could do that in an evening. So I may leave this until the weekend, but we will see. We will see. I'm super excited for this one. And I do have other pickups, but I'm going to save them for another video. But here's a little sneak peek. One's a big one. Anyway, I'll catch you all on the next one. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and game on.
Big respect to the gamer, name of Wayne. In his world PlayStation reigns the same, and he's got love for the levels, high score or not. But for now, he'll show you why his collection's hot. Wayne's World!